poverty alleviation. So I'm really thrilled to see all of you here today and your interest in the Clinton-Orfalea-Brittingham Fellowship Program. We have a lot to talk about today in a short amount of time, and I know that law school students, many of you need to leave at 1:20, so you are welcome to discreetly exit at that point. No one will be offended if we see you leaving. And if there's any information or literature that you feel that you might miss by leaving early, you're welcome to email me at the end of this session or any of the other contacts that we'll talk about today to get that information. I want to welcome my colleagues who work with me to provide this opportunity for our students. Rachel from the law school, who many of you know, and Seema and Zarui from the Price School. Just a show of hands, how many people are here from the Price School today? Great. And how many are here from the law school? Represent. Big turnout. And who's here from Marshall? Wonderful. So we're really happy to see all of you. Today I'm going to give you an overview of the fellowship opportunity. You will get to hear from Ella Brittingham, who makes this program possible. And I know that many of you are looking forward to hearing from Julie Becker, who is a representative from the Clinton Foundation in New York. As you know, everyone in New York and everyone in the East Coast is really suffering tremendously on account of the storms that have hit there. Julie, up until about half an hour ago, even though she hasn't had power for 2 days, was still conserving her cell phone battery to be able to call in to speak to you all today. And I insisted that she not do that. So you can blame me for not getting to hear from Julie, but in the interest of public safety and her safety, I felt like her battery power ought go, God forbid, in the case of an emergency. What she has done is provided a lot of information, and I'll mention what some of that information is a little bit later. We'll make some of that available on my office's website, so all of you have access to it. And then after that, when things settle down, hopefully in that part of the country, we'll do some sort of a conference call or another follow-up meeting like today for those of you that end up applying, and you can speak to Julie over the phone, and she'll go over some of that documentation probably in early December. So please forgive me. It's my fault. Julie wanted to be here, and she wanted to be able to share lots of information to you, but I said on behalf of all of USC, stay safe and don't do that. So we're really, really thrilled and grateful that Ella made the long drive in from Santa Barbara to be able to speak with you all, and you'll hear from her in just a little bit. I also want to thank Rachel and the whole team, there you are, at the law school, not just for hosting us today, but we had a whole technological setup that would have made possible for Julie to be here that, of course, now you won't get to see, but the team, the IT team at the law school is really extraordinary, and we're grateful for that. So I want to share with you just a little overview of the program, and then we'll hear from Ella about her role and the role of the Orfalea Foundation in making this program possible. So the Clinton-Orfalea-Brittingham Fellowship is an opportunity for recent graduates, and that means those of you graduating this May and people who graduated last May, that's what recent graduates mean, to engage in a highly selective, year-long fellowship at the Clinton Foundation in New York. We have been doing this program. The first class of students that participated in this program was in 2007, 2008, so they graduated in 2007. This program's been going on since then, and it's for, as I mentioned, recent graduates from the Price School, the School of Law, and Marshall students to get to spend 1 year, usually in New York City, working at the Clinton Foundation offices. But some of our students do work in other countries as dictated by the needs of the Clinton Foundation that year. The program provides for a $45,000 stipend for students to use during that 1 year, in addition to paying for interview expenses for finalists and $1,000 in professional development while you're at the Clinton Foundation, which is actually a shockingly large sum of money, and our students actually say that that's one of the best parts of the program. Many of our students consider this analogous to an additional year of graduate school. So it's an additional learning experience, something that complements the work that you've done here, and you're provided with a stipend to help you get set up in New York for that year. And students who participate in this program go on to do lots and lots of things. Many are offered employment by the Clinton Foundation as a follow-up to their year there, although that's certainly not guaranteed. But certainly, as you can imagine, just the connections that one makes working in an organization like the Clinton Foundation is extraordinary. And the funders of this program intended that. It's intended to be a jump starter for those of you that are interested in social entrepreneurship and social enterprise and really the space of innovation. So after completing this program, fellows go into nonprofit management, in the for-profit sector, in the business world, certainly onto other law careers, and all the things related to the different program areas that they learn about while they're at the Clinton Foundation. I'm going to pass around now some handouts, if you could pass these back and circulate around, that have the names of the individuals that have been selected as fellows over the past few years. We also were going to have on the phone with Julie today several of the current fellows in New York, but you can guess why that's not happening. So if you want to get in touch with any of the students that have previously completed their fellowship year, or the ones that just started, a few months ago at the Clinton Foundation, you can contact each of the school representatives, whose names are at the bottom of the page, and they would be able to give you contact information if you want to speak to any of the students directly that have engaged in this program. I would like to call up Ella to speak to us a little bit about the history of the program and what the two different foundations that fund this for students are looking for. And again, we're not just grateful for you coming in from Santa Barbara, but also just the phenomenal opportunity that this affords our students. It really is a rare opportunity to work at the Clinton Foundation, but also really to get to see some of the work that your foundation, the Orfalea Foundation, does out in the community. So thank you very much.
So just a little bit of history. I don't know how many of you have heard of Paul Orfalea, probably if you're not in business school, but he was the founder of Kinko's, and his foundation, he was a USC alum who founded Kinko's, and it's his foundation that started the Orfalea Clinton Fellowship. They are friends of ours from Santa Barbara, and their foundation. We've worked together a lot, and last year we actually talked to them about doing another project at USC with us, and they said, you know, I think we're going to pass on that, but we want to show you this program at USC that we do. And I was so lucky to come down last year and do some interviews of the students who are applying for the fellowship, and we were so impressed that we decided that we would like to make it possible for some more fellows this year. So in the past, there have been an average of 4 fellows every year. This year, there's an opportunity for 5 or 6, depending on applicants and the needs of the Clinton Foundation. But basically, what we're looking for is someone or people who are interested in having a commitment to action and public service. Maybe you're looking for, want to work in the nonprofit world, maybe you're interested in working for the government, but you want to see a change, a social change, and are interested in exploring that for your first year out of school. It can be a launching pad for many things, as Abby indicated. A lot of people who have gone through the fellowship, who've been fellows, have gone on to have a list of the things that they've done, and, including working for the U.S. State Department, working for the Clinton Foundation, working for the World Justice Project. It's just it's an incredible opportunity for you to network and get to know what else is out there. So I encourage you all to apply. Last year we were so encouraged by how many applicants we had. The level of competence and just the incredible brilliance of the students that applied are why we have more this year. So I hope that you'll all apply, and we look forward to meeting you.
Thank you very much. Sure. So I want to spend a little time on what the process looks like and some information that might be relevant to you if you decide to apply. As Ellen mentioned, it is a competitive process. It's competitive not just because of the number of students that apply, but because, as you can imagine, it's pretty hard to get a job at the Clinton Foundation. So by coming in this way, through the back door, as it were, you're competing for fairly coveted spots at a large and really respected organization. So to a certain extent, you have a better opportunity than the rest of the public who just wants to work there. But on the other hand, you're scrutinized a bit more closely. Most people, when they apply for a job, don't have to write multiple essays and send in their transcripts and have letters of recommendation, although you probably have to have letters of recommendation in this particular case. But you follow what I'm saying. So it's a pretty rigorous process, but we feel that you're rewarded for going through that process. So your applications, which I'll pass out towards the end of this session, your applications are due in hard copy by February 1st to the individual representatives at the 3 schools. And if you have any questions about the process, as you're going through the application process, please do see the representatives of each of your schools. They'll be able to direct you best. We ask for several essays, including a statement of financial aid and financial need, excuse me. And I want to spend a minute on that because it's a little bit confusing, I think, on the application. When the Orfalea Foundation and the Clinton Foundation originally conceived of this opportunity, they were hoping to be able to help people who had significant financial need that might otherwise not be able to pursue a career in this field. The circumstances, the economy, different things have changed since then. So it's not exactly a priority in the way that it once was to support just students with high financial need. But if you are a student with significant financial need, we want to give you the space to write about that in your application. So there's an essay question that asks you to state your financial need at the end, and you don't have to make anything up or make yourself sound like you're in a situation that you're not. But if you do have a special circumstance or a particularly heavy amount of loan debt or something else that you feel the committee should know about, that's your space to write about it. And again, if you have questions about that particular part of the application, you're welcome to ask one of the representatives of the schools. The other questions ask you about an area of social impact that's particularly significant to you and about your public service experience. There's space in the application for you to talk about your public service experience, not just about what you've done paid, but anything that to you is public service. And it'll ask you for particular information about that background, and then there's space in the essay also to write about it. We ask for your transcript. We know that students in the law school have sort of a funky transcript process, that you don't have an official one until you graduate. So whatever it is that the law school provides for you that gives a complete record of your grades for all of your classes so far, that's what we want you to use. I'm sure that has a special name.
The RAP.
That's the name.
Record of Academic Performance.
That's the special name. So do that. Print it out, though. I think you can access it online, but please do print it out so that we can have it for all the committee members. And then we also ask for a copy of your resume. You can submit whatever kind of copy of resume is best suited in your world. And by that I mean, I know sometimes business students are told that they have to give a one-page one, and students from other schools have different lengths. Whatever feels like it gives the most information that's pertinent to this job, make it so. Of course, if it goes on much longer than 2 pages, people will probably tire of reading it. But you don't have to stick to a one-page format if you feel that there's more information that would be particular to public service that's relevant in this case. And then in addition to that, we ask for 2 letters of recommendation, one from an academic source and one from an employer, either a current employer or a previous employer. So that's the application. As I mentioned, that's due February 1st. We will not consider incomplete or late applications, so please, it's your responsibility to gather everything up in one packet and bring it over to us. It gets really tricky if we're having to track down people who are writing you letters of recommendations, but they're not giving it to you first, and then we have to find them and match them with the rest of your file. It's especially tricky because sometimes that happens and they're in those wonderful sealed envelopes, and then I have to guess what's inside and match it to the list of applications. So please actually deliver your applications to the different representatives in ways that we can all easily read and share. And if there's some sort of strange special circumstance that precludes that, definitely let one of us know and we'll try and work with you. The next round is if you're selected as a finalist from that round, we will have on-campus interviews where Julie Becker from the Clinton Foundation will join us from New York, weather permitting, of course. Ella from the Brittingham Foundation, and then a representative from the Orfalea Foundation, and then representatives from each of the schools represented in the program are also on the committee. And we'll have a chance to get to know you in person and spend a little bit more time together. If you are a finalist from that round, you will be flown and your expenses will be paid to go to New York to interview on site at the Clinton Foundation. And that's the point when the process actually changes a little bit. The first few rounds of the process are about establishing you as a good fit in general. Are you the kind of candidate that the Clinton Foundation might wish to hire, and are you the kind of candidate that the Orfalea Foundation and the Brittingham Foundation would like to support? At the point that you get on the plane and go to New York, you are now a candidate applying for a job out in the universe. So our role as a university and the foundations takes a step back at that point, which means that when you go, all rules of job interviewing applies at that point. So in order to help you in this whole process, and one of the things that Julie was really excited about speaking about today, and unfortunately she's not able to send, is we have essentially project descriptions from each of the departments that will be hiring at the Clinton Foundation for this coming year. So you will actually have access to not just the name of the department that is interested in making the hire, but also the specific project that you would be working on were you hired by that department for your fellowship year. Does that make sense? Did I say that in a way that made sense? Great. So Julie was really excited to be able to share those descriptions today, and she even went so far as to, in the pouring rain, and by pouring rain I mean, as you know, hurricane conditions, walking the 25 blocks to the locked and closed Clinton Foundation in the rain, taking pictures of each of the job descriptions on her cell phone because she wasn't able to access them electronically to send today, and then sending me all the JPEGs of those. And unfortunately, they were just too blurry to even really print out. But I will make them available on our website so you have access to them. But I want you to know how much Julie cares about this program. That was the length she really wanted to go to make sure you had that information. And as I mentioned, we'll do a follow-up with her for those of you that are serious about applying next month. So the reason that I mention that is because you have an opportunity in your application process to speak to the actual projects that you might be working on and what about your experience makes you a good fit for them. As Ella mentioned, the Brittingham Family Foundation and the Orfalea Family Foundation are interested in launching you as a social entrepreneur and launching your career. So they are looking for people that really want to go into this career, often as a career change, or sometimes as a new and different kind of extension than what they've done previously. The Clinton Foundation, of course, is looking to hire employees who are going to work really well on their projects. So when you're writing and when you're interviewing, you have to kind of walk the line between presenting yourself as a candidate that would be a good fellow in a prestigious and competitive program, and also a good employee who would make sense in the kind of environment and on the kind of projects the Clinton Foundation supports. So to the extent that you're able to do outside research, either by speaking to previous or current fellows, by spending a good bit of time on the Clinton Foundation's website, which has a lot of extensive information, by speaking to people in your own professional network or contacts that you have that would know about this space, it's really to your advantage to do that. Because at the point that you end up at the table with the Clinton Foundation representative interviewing you in our committee, or flying to New York, it's just like any other job that you're applying for. You need to know the industry, you need to know the organization, you should know people that work there and what they do there and the kind of job that you're actually applying for. Does that make sense in how I said it? And good. So we try and be really candid in this process because we are incredibly proud of you, and we are incredibly proud of the opportunity, and we want you to get this. We're not trying to trick you up. We want to give you the opportunity to be the best and most competitive candidate that you can be. Okay, so I would like to pass out these applications. These are the hard copy applications this year, but as you'll see, there's fields in the information, so I'm passing this out just so you have a sense of what we're talking about. But I will make available on our website, and your school representatives will have available the electronic application. So if you want to type directly on it, that would be helpful for us, unless you happen to have really wonderful teacher handwriting, which I do. But if you don't have that, please go ahead and type in the fields. It makes it a lot easier to read it that way. Okay, so while those are circulating, I'm also going to circulate this sign-in sheet for anyone that didn't fill it out on your way in. so that I can make sure to give you the lists of those job descriptions that I mentioned that we had from New York, and also so that we can have note of who's here to follow up with you. Okay, so as these are going around, I want to make myself and Ella and the school representatives available for questions. Yes?
Is the February 1st deadline rolling, or
Tell me what you mean by that.
like do you have a better chance of being selected as a semi-finalist interview if you submit it like proportionally earlier before February 1st?
You do not have a better chance,
Okay.
but if it makes your life easier for planning purposes, you are welcome to.
Got it.
But no, you're welcome to go right up until that deadline.
So are you applying to one specific job description of the pictures?
Oh, great. That's a great question. So on the front of the app, or one of the pages of the application, probably the first page of the actual application, you'll see that there's 5 program areas listed. Those are the 5 program areas that the Clinton Foundation is looking for fellows to work in for this coming year. So what we ask on the application is for you to select all of the program areas that you would be interested in being a candidate for at. I'm sorry, I screwed up my preposition. And among those, then what you'll get on another date, and I'm sorry again that we don't have it today, is a list of the projects that the fellows will be working on in each of those program areas. So if you are interested in 4 out of 5 of them, it's hard to craft a 500-word essay, obviously covering 4 projects and 5 departments and these kinds of things, but it'll give you a sense of what's available and probably help you hone in on what your particular strengths are that would be a good match. So I'll be really specific in regard to that question. Some of you have very, very specific skills, job skills, that may or may not be clear in your essays, which are more a qualitative conversation about your passions and your interests. It's really important to highlight those skills. So for example, if you speak a foreign language, if you have a particular knowledge of metrics or quantitative analysis, or a computer programming language, or a database that you're particularly confident in, or if you're a real numbers person, if you're just an ace at finances, if you're phenomenal at research, if there are particular discrete skills, especially those that you might have gained in a particular class that you could even highlight, or in an internship, or in independent research, anything that wouldn't necessarily pop up just from your bulleting out of it on your resume or in your essays, please call that to people's attention. So that's a longer answer to the question about the descriptions. You're not necessarily applying for a particular job, and actually it's to your advantage to present yourself as a candidate who has a range of skills that can be used in a variety of different ways. But if you read, I don't, as I mentioned that I don't have the, these job descriptions with me, but if you see in the job description that the job says 80% of this work takes place in Kansas. Well, do you have a relationship to Kansas that might be useful for us to know about if that's the job you really want? So you don't have to speak to a particular job per se, but I think it's important to have a sense, or we think it's important for you to have a sense of what the Clinton Foundation is looking for this year and how you might be a good candidate in that regard. And we're in past years, candidates have been asked to select which departments they were interested in, but we haven't been able to make available to them at this early point all of the job descriptions. So that's a real gift that the Clinton Foundation is giving us for the sake of wanting to have a better and better match. So please use that to your advantage in the application and interview process. I also want to add to that that it's okay to say, I don't know. So if on the one hand, if none of the jobs and the job descriptions speak to you, then it kind of raises the question, why are you applying? But on the other hand, if something speaks to you, but it's something that you're cultivating at the moment, or a class that you're in right now, or a skill set that you're looking to develop, but you feel, it's like any other job application. You look at it, you see if it's a good fit, and then you find a way to present yourself in the best light that's a match. So what do I mean by that? If you are very strong in analytics and you've never considered climate change, but you know that that's a department that from the description has a tremendous amount of data collection and analysis, and you've perhaps done work on that in another space, it's okay to say and be honest, You know, climate change is not something I have experience with. However, it is a deep interest of mine. If it is, obviously don't lie. And I'm looking forward to bring my analytic skills to bear in this particular way. Does that make sense? So, you know, again, you know, you are all adults. You've applied for things before. You can figure out how to present yourself. But I just want to empower you to give yourself the space to present yourself in a way that really shows the range of experiences you've had. Other questions?
Two questions. One is who leads the initial first round of applications, and then the second question is in terms of the statement of financial need, is that optional, or and how does it affect one's application?
Great. Do you want to speak to any of those?
Sure. Do you want me to talk about who reads them first?
Yeah, that'd be great.
We all will read them, and in addition, somebody from the Orfalea Foundation and someone from the Clinton Foundation, Julie, reads all the applications. And then as far as financial need, I would say I think it's more important for the Orfalea Foundation than the Brittingham Foundation. If you've had your granny paying for your education, and now she's finally saying that's it, you've got to get your first job, and we understand that sometimes that's the situation for people, and we want you to be able to have an opportunity to get a job working for social change, maybe something that you wouldn't be able to do if it weren't for the fellowship. So I think, I don't know if that's how Orfalea, as Abby indicated earlier, I think it was more important than it is now.
It's important to have an answer, but you don't have to make your situation seem any different than it is. So if you don't have a particular pressing financial need, if you're one of the lucky ones and all your loans have been covered in grad school and you're independently wealthy and you know your fiance is looking forward to having you share his or her penthouse in New York, and you know you don't have to make your situation more dire than it is. You can just say, I'm doing fine. write that out in a professional way. But if there's a particular circumstance that would affect your life one way or the other, I think probably what many of you are thinking is the tricky part is it's like, you know, this isn't a lottery ticket. You're getting a modest stipend for your year in New York. So it's, if I'm reading anyone's minds, it's a confusing question about why that would matter. I think the nuance here is there are many people who a fellowship is a fellowship is a fellowship, and it's a prestigious fellowship. So the stipend that you're making is not necessarily the significant part. It's the opportunity for certain people who might not otherwise be connected to the Clinton Foundation because of particular circumstance or not, that would allow them to have an opportunity to be in this kind of an environment. And that's the kind of launching that I think the Orfalea Foundation had in mind when they considered financial need. I hope that makes it a little clearer. And we should mention that Catherine Brzezowski, who represents the Orfalea Foundation, just had a baby. So that's why she's not here today. And she would, over email, if you have a question about that, she might even be interested in answering it. But that's what we've done for the last few years, and we can tell you from being on the committee that it comes up as a criteria, but I'll say this in one more way. Lack of financial need has never worked to anyone's disadvantage. I'll say it that way. If you have financial need and we know about it, it could work to your advantage, but if you don't, it will not preclude this opportunity. It will not, there are no points against you for not being high financial need. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Has there ever been a situation where somebody who applied through the fellowship to the Clinton-Orfalea Initiative did get a job at Clinton-Orfalea Initiative but not through the fellowship?
There's one example. It's actually a fun question for a number of reasons. It's not likely, and I wouldn't count on that. There was one example 4 years ago of a student who, before we published the information about what departments were hiring, when you were just applying kind of blindly to work at the Clinton Foundation, went all the way through the interview process with a deep, deep passion that, unbeknownst to him, was not going to be represented by a fellowship opportunity that year, and was and took advantage of. I guess there's an externship opportunity that maybe one of your schools has. There was some sort of opportunity that he took advantage of over winter break, and he worked at the Clinton Foundation, and he was applying. So I can't say that he was hired as a result of this process, but some pretty combination of his externship and this process, he ended up getting hired at Clinton Foundation, but not as a fellow, because one of the fellowship offices, it didn't match him. And then there was another student, several students actually, who the Orfalea Foundation has followed up with, who were not going to be good matches for the fellowship opportunity, but ended up making a really nice relationship with the Orfalea Family Foundation. So, you know, no pressure on Miss Brittingham today, but glad you all look good today. Smile on your way out. But it's an, you know, it's an opportunity.
No, but it's true. And yeah, I would add just, I didn't probably talk enough about the Orfalea Foundation. What a fantastic and phenomenal foundation it is, and how many resources they have as well, and how many connections they have as well. But it's just it's an incredible opportunity to be able to get to know both of these two foundations and the people that their network is so huge that it really is a great launching pad.
And of course, we didn't say this earlier, and I should have said this, but my husband, Scott, are both alums of USC, and so just the opportunity to get to know her and their family and really the history of giving back to the church and community is also a really phenomenal part of this experience.
Fun for us to get to know some of these students who are coming through. I can't tell you how what a pleasure it's been to read the applications and to know the wonderful work that you all are doing. So.
You have other questions? Yes, Jan.
Say you're a first year MBA or first or second year law student, and you're just here to listen. Is there anything that is advantageous to do in the coming year to prepare in advance?
Great, that's a great question. And I'm sure that does apply to some of you. You're welcome to reach out to any of us that are representatives from the different schools to talk about what classes or field experiences might be appealing to you to make yourself more competitive for this kind of process. You're welcome to reach out to any of the alums from the different programs who are listed on the sheet to spend time with them. In the business school, we offer a course, EAEP 591, which is offered this spring. And certainly that's something that we look at in the application process because it's the only class in social entrepreneurship that's offered at the university at the graduate level. So to the extent that you want to set yourself apart as a candidate who's taken this kind of subject matter really seriously, we definitely look and see, we'll have you taken 591. And then there are other classes within the Price School and the Law School that also might prepare you for one or more of the different subject areas that are represented in the different offices. Does that answer your question? Great. I saw a hand in the back. Yes, sir.
I want to know, is U.S. citizenship required?
Oh, yes. U.S. citizenship is not required, but you have to be eligible to have a work visa at the time that the job takes place. And the Clinton Foundation won't do any more to help students get a work visa than any other organization would. So there's no expediting or relationship in the Clinton Foundation that would be any more significant than working anywhere else in the U.S. And I say that because that has understandably been a question of some candidates when they go to apply. So assuming that you're eligible to work in the U.S. For your start date at the Clinton Foundation, then yes, you're eligible to apply.
Just to follow up with the help sponsorship with a visa?
I don't exactly know what is required of a visa, but I know that that was what I was told to say.
Okay.
And that's what we've said for the past few years. So there have been international students that have worked at the Clinton Foundation. I mean, I could point to several on the list that this has come up before, but I know that it assuming that they were eligible to work anywhere.
So,
Well, maybe I'll find out what that actually means between now and then we can talk one-on-one. Yes?
Do fellows get to choose their start date, or is that dependent on the department they end up getting?
At that point, it becomes kind of like any other job.
Okay.
So they'll offer you a start date, and that may or may not work. So most of well, it depends. I think the people that are working at CGI, any of the CGI, they often will try and get you in sooner rather than later because of the conference.
September.
Right, so the conference is in September, and they wouldn't want that to be your first day. But some of the other offices have a little bit later start date. Yes.
If I begin the process, the application process, and then graduate before the interviews are complete, does that then make me ineligible because I graduated?
No, it does not. It's a good question, and that also raises something else, which is you do need to be available on February 20th to interview on site. So unfortunately, we're not able to interview anyone that can't be in Los Angeles on the 20th. However, if you have graduated and you're able to come in for the day, you're welcome to apply. It's candidates that have graduated this year, this academic school year, or last May. So it could be last May, this December, this May. Yes?
And that is a question. So if I were to apply and then not get it, would I still then be eligible to apply like the next year?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no.
Yeah. You're welcome to reapply. Of course, you would have needed to gain additional experience or whatever it is that would have not made you a good candidate for this year. You probably want to get feedback from your school representative about that to be more competitive. And you are welcome and encouraged to use your school representative as a resource for you in this application process. It's not. This is a joint program. It's one of the lovely and rare, I should say, opportunities for the 3 graduate schools to really get to work together on something like this. So we are all delighted to help all of you, and you're welcome to come to each of us. I'm not suggesting that I won't talk to law or PIE students. I just assumed that it would be more convenient for you to go to your own career services office, but you're welcome to see any of the 3 of us, and we'll all, there's no trick here, and you're not competing against other schools. All of you are put together in a class, and we look forward to meeting all of you and picking the best of the whole bunch from all of you.
And I would just encourage you all to take note to that, because these people are going to be in the interview process and going to be talking about the applications. We all get together after we've read the applications and talk about them, so it really helps if you have somebody who knows you already who's on the phone and in the room.
Yeah, that's a really great point. It's surprising and uncomfortable for your own career services person to have not met you prior to having to meet you in an interview setting. Yes?
Is this a national fellowship program, or students selected for this program only come from USC?
Only from USC. Okay. It's a phenomenal opportunity that our funders and the Clinton Foundation makes available just for USC students because of their relationship as alums of USC. It's really, really.
They're interns, Clinton interns with them all over.
Right.
And through the internship program, you'll get to know all the other interns working in your area of interest.
Right. So it's a neat opportunity once you get there. As Ella mentioned, the Clinton Foundation hires 80 undergraduate or recent graduate interns every year to work in their offices for a year. And so while you're there as a fellow, you'll have all of the opportunities that a full-time employee has. You're treated as a full-time employee, even though you're a fellow. And then you also have all kinds of different professional development and networking opportunities that are part of the intern program. So it's a really neat hybrid.
As a law student, are you expected to take the New York bar or delay taking the bar for a fellow?
Well, the bar, graduation happens in May. Bar takes the last week of July. Fellows probably don't start until, I guess, August. So I think you could take the bar. I don't think taking the New York bar is required. And I think that's an additional question that in law, if you pursue this path, where it might affect you, because you may not be doing the actual practice of law. You're doing more policy work, and there are pros and cons with that personally.
And that would be a reason, for example, to push back your start date. That's a very reasonable thing to tell your future employer, that you prefer not to start until after taking the bar. Yeah.
Is there any sample application material available? Like essays or resumes, or is that
We don't have that information available, but if you, you're welcome to contact any of the alums through the different career offices, and you could ask them. You're also, I don't want to speak for the other schools, but I know that I sit with students from the business school and help read drafts and give some suggestions there. So there's that opportunity as well. Obviously with advanced notice. Well, any other additional questions, you're welcome to follow up with myself or Seema or Rachel or their office. Before I leave, I'll write the website for the Society of Business Lab on the board. In a few weeks, you'll see posted the job descriptions, the fellows descriptions that I mentioned, as well as the video from today will be posted on our website. The video from last year is posted on our website. Julie Becker was actually on the phone last year. So if you are feeling particularly anxious and you can't wait until our makeup session with Julie, you can go to our website and watch the video and hear her that way. I want to, again, really thank Ms. Brittingham for coming in today and obviously for making this possible for our students. And we're also grateful in absentia for the Orfalea Family Foundation who paved the way for this wonderful opportunity for all of you. And I hope many of you will get to meet Catherine in the interview process. So thank you guys for coming. Make sure you signed up. If there's any of you that didn't get information you want to email me for it, you're welcome to. I'll write my info on the board, and good luck to all of you.